Here we go. And I think we are ready to go. Welcome. I am Nazzy from the Pulse of New Hampshire. Welcome to your Concord Co-op Community Connections. Joining me, as always, from the Concord Co-op, my good friend, Greg Lessard. How are you this afternoon, morning, whatever time of day it is? It all just kind of blends together, doesn't it, Greg?
Late morning. It has blended today, and it's a nice bright day, which will help us with today's conversation.
Yes, we do have a wonderful conversation going on today, and we're going to break it down into two parts. We're going to be talking about mental health and beating the winter blues, both in humans and with your animals. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit, but joining us right now, we've got Dr. Angela Bergen. She is a mental health clinician providing psychiatric emergency support and strengths-based therapy in a community mental health setting. Welcome, Dr. Angela.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Nazzy. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
So this must be a very busy time of year for you, isn't it?
This is the busiest time of year for us, yes.
I mean, we're in February now, and it just feels like this has been the longest winter ever. And I think a lot of people are feeling the winter blues, and more so this year because we're stuck at home.
Exactly.
Have you found yourself treating more people, talking to more people this winter, more so in your whole professional career?
It definitely is very different. The array of calls that we're getting at the emergency line is, they're very acute. It's very heartbreaking. There's so much isolation. It's very challenging, not only for adults, but also for children and families on the whole as well.
So my first question, what are some of the signs? Because I am a big supporter of mental health. I speak with a therapist once a week. I think everybody should. I think it's just as important. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health, as important as taking care of your body. What are some of the signs that we should be looking out for the seasonal disorder that we're going through?
Yeah. So signs of depression, it's really important to keep an eye out, not only for yourself, but for other people that you're involved with in your life, to keep an eye on them too. When I think of depression, I think of not only the symptoms, but also the treatment from this biopsychosocial model perspective. So on one hand, we've got our biological body, which in the winter, we're definitely struggling with getting enough vitamin D. We're not getting outside and getting sunlight. So there's many reasons biologically that we're more likely to experience depression in the winter. So watching yourself, watching your energy level and seeing where you're at, watching what's happening inside your body as far as your appetite and your sleep patterns. Are they different, right? And then moving into the psychological piece, keeping an eye, especially on your thoughts. That's a place to start. Are they more negative than usual? Do you find yourself kind of trapped in some thought patterns that you normally wouldn't feel quite as stuck in? Are you busy? Are you doing something with yourself, with your time? Is your mind stimulated? Are you, bored and really withdrawing? So that's something to keep an eye on. And then socially, just isolation is really a very strong symptom of depression. It's just really coming back, like withdrawing into yourself. It's not communicating with others as much or as frequently, or even the depth of conversation not being quite as, sincere as usual. A little more superficial is something that we notice definitely with depression.
I've noticed that that's kind of happened to me a little bit. It's just people will send me an email and normally I'll just be like, hey, how are you? How you doing? And my responses are like, yep. How you doing? And it's starting to get to me. It really is.
Yeah, this is the time of year. February is definitely, I would say, the hardest month for many people. We're just right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And Angela, do you find our people, I think for a period of time, there's been a stigma with reaching out because, somebody's depressed or has, feels that, therapy is for somebody, not me. That's for somebody that's really got real problems. And I should be able to solve this myself and work through this myself. And it's not really something to be sharing with somebody else. Are you finding that, there's that, individuals are more embracing seeking guidance and help? Nazzy said it's part of his well-being. It's a weekly thing, but are people moving more in that direction?
I hope so, Greg. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who are moving towards that acceptance and just thinking this is just a part of our life. There's no reason to treat it any differently than any other part of our health and well-being. I will say that a lot of times in emergency services, we'll get phone calls, not only from clients, which is great, but also the family and friend of somebody who's struggling, who knows there shouldn't be a stigma and is reaching out on their behalf to get them connected to somebody. And sometimes it does take a little bit of encouragement to get that person on board. So not only do we, rely on folks to call for themselves, but it's great to rely on their friends and family to also call and say, hey, what can we do? I'm noticing this in somebody else. What do you suggest? And how can I talk to them to normalize this for them? So we've got more allies than we think.
And it just seems like I know in my circle of friends, that was the thing. Oh, only crazy people have to talk to therapists, and I think over the past year, it's definitely changed. I know a lot more of my family and friends that have sought out and are seeking and talking to professionals right now, and I'm a big cheerleader of it. I think it's just as important as going to the gym. It's just as important as eating healthy, getting that sleep, talking to a professional, somebody who's non-biased to what's going on in your life. And that's really what I enjoy.
Yeah. So I think right now, I mean, we're getting double whammy. We have the winter isolation that we normally have, and everybody at spring fever. Everybody wants to get out soon in the warm weather, but also, the effects of COVID on our lives is I think in many cases it's more than we understand. Just trying to reach out and say, hey, let's get together and I don't care if we're 10 feet apart, but there's a lot of apprehension. No, I'm not doing that, Greg. So making those connections. So bottom line is, what are you suggesting that, there's limited, the ability to connect right now is limited. So what is your guidance there?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thinking of the biopsychosocial. So biologically, there's a lot we can do. Psychologically, there's a lot. But the social piece is where we're seeing the biggest hit right now. There's so much more isolation than what we're used to. So, the general recommendations of staying connected somehow creatively, any way that you can with people that care about you and that you care about. And not only inside and on, video chats, which are a wonderful option, but also getting outside, safely distanced apart, going for walks. The sidewalks are clear. Some trails in the woods are nice and, stomped on, so they're clear as well. Just getting out with folks and talking to people, getting up on the phone, getting on a video chat, even if it seems weird with a close family member, just doing it. It's oddly enough, we do get some connection just by seeing each other like this.
Well, so, then the old school aspect of it, just calling up somebody.
Just calling.
How are you?
Right, exactly.
It's so very true. If you could for a moment, speak a little bit about being mindful, why that's so important now more than ever during this pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. Mindfulness is so important at a baseline, but during the pandemic, it's really important to keep ourselves grounded. I think a lot of fear and anxiety can really spiral our thoughts to really dark places really quickly. So trying to stay grounded in the moment and focusing on what's right in front of you. Also, gratitude is a great way to work in that mindfulness piece, because you're asking yourself, what am I grateful for right now? So one, it's bringing you into the moment, and two, it's bringing your thoughts to a more positive place. So that's a nice double whammy right there, is gratitude practice as well.
It really is. And another thing that I do, and I don't know what the proper name for it is, it's the check. I have to check myself and just kind of give myself, okay, everything's okay. I'm not in any pain. I'm not hurt. And it helps a little, but I can't wait for this pandemic to be over and us to be able to do this face to face in a studio and just kind of get back to life,
Yeah, exactly. It's a good time to make some plans too for the next steps, like what I will do when COVID is over.
Yeah, and but even now, I mean, I think I'll call it depression or near depression is now. So, making plans down the road isn't, so in the winter, I don't like the snow too much. I don't like being outside, but I've decided to, push myself a little bit. So I made an ice rink and I just made it last weekend. It's just like, okay, that'll get me out, but it gets you outside. And so I think it's, what can people do to kind of like push themselves a little bit? Any suggestions on that push? Because once you're in motion, it's not as bad as you're believing it's going to be.
Yeah, that's true. So the hockey rink, or the ice rink, that's a great example. So if somebody's looking a little farther out with a goal, even if it's the spring, summer garden, it takes time to research and plan. You've got to order seeds or decide where things are going to go. So even if you are looking at a future plan, there are steps you can take right now to get started on it. We don't just snap our fingers, unfortunately, and have our goals. So what can we do? If your goal is number 10 on a scale, what does 1, 2, 3, and 4 look like? Because you can do that right now.
That's really cool.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Dr. Angela, thank you so much for joining us and spreading this great knowledge. And I really, really hope that somebody takes it to heart what you just said, because it was great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
All right. So, Greg, we're going to move on now from the people to the pets. Let's welcome in Dr. Wendy Jensen. She is a very special house call veterinarian who has practiced homeopathy for the past 25 years. She's also an author of the book, The Practical Handbook of Veterinary Homeopathy, Healing Our Companion Animals from the Inside Out, which both introduces veterinarians to the topic and also enables animal lovers to take full advantage of their homeopathic veterinary care. Welcome, Dr. Wendy.
Thank you, Nazzy. Good to be here.
Hi.
Back again, I should say. And I'll let you know that I am home right now, and under my feet, I've got my 13-year-old dog who is experiencing some winter blues.
No.
She is a dog that, she's part boxer, whatever. She's a mutt. But she's bummed because she doesn't really like the cold on her paws. So I'm looking at her right now. She looks depressed. What are some of the other signs that we should be looking for in our animals this winter?
Well, that's one of them, reduced activity, maybe a reduced appetite, not responding to you as well. But one thing our animals always teach us is how to be in the now. Listening to Angela talk about being in the now, they're very good at helping us realize and remember to do that. So for your dog, she might want a jacket when she goes out. Some dogs are amazing. They come to life when they've got this nice fluffy jacket on. It's something worth trying.
It's her paws.
The paws, they also make little booties. They're a little bit more to get used to, but some dogs can do that. Which reminds me, when you come in from a walk during these kinds of conditions, be sure to get their feet rinsed off when you're done, because there could be salt on there. But you get them outside, get them moving, get one of those chuckets that help you throw, especially if you've got good recall, and she'll come back to you, or otherwise be in an enclosed area so it's safe. That's something to get her moving. She might learn to like it. You might bring in some of the snow, make a dog popsicle, if you've ever heard of those. You can blend it up with snow and peanut butter and bananas. That's a lot of fun. Again, that brings you into the here and now. What's good about right now.
So there could be a little bit of chicken juice on that.
Yep.
Yeah. We can put a little bit of, you can do a little bit of chicken juice, okay?
So Wendy, you seem to be validating Nazzy believing that his dog is depressed right now. So do our companion pets get depressed in the winter as, feel claustrophobic and want to get going again? It seems like most pets that I've ever had are very content laying beside you endless hours. So you're saying yes, our companion animals do get the winter blues, I guess. Is that right?
They certainly can. And also, hi, Greg, good to see you again. They certainly can. And there's a few things, now that we're in COVID and we're sitting here at our computers all day, there's things that you can learn even online. You can learn Reiki. You can learn acupressure. And there's another one, I don't know if you've heard of, called T-Touch. It's capital T, touch. There's ways to touch your animal. It's kind of a massage. The first two are not actually touching. Reiki's not actually touching, but the others are actually touching and massaging certain pressure points, and especially the older animals and the dogs, because they just have bigger bodies and our big fingers on them. can feel really good if you got the right place that you can massage, and it can help move the toxins through their body. It can help stimulate their nervous system. So those are things that you can really do at home now to help them if they're feeling down.
Yeah.
But they definitely do react to weather, even cats that have never gone outside, because the inside of the house, it feels different. The sunlight coming in is different. So just be aware of that. And if you're present with them and learn these ways to take care of them, you can home cook for them even.
Oh, she likes home cook. Now, let me ask you this, though, and I don't know if this is a sign of the winter blues, but I noticed she's been licking herself a lot more. And in fact, on her hind leg, she's got kind of a spot where obviously she's been licking like a hot spot. Do you think that's part of the seasonal depression as well? Because she's not really a licker. She doesn't really do that kind of stuff.
That more sounds like there could be some tenderness underneath. Sometimes the dog will go for a spot. It's like you or me rubbing something that hurts.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that with their paw. They're going to lick instead. So that'd be worth checking out with your local veterinarian, just to be sure, especially if it's not bilateral, not the same on each side.
No, it's
the
not.
Same on each side makes me think of allergies, or it's just one spot. It makes me think, what's happening that needs to be rubbed and licked? Pay some attention to that.
I'll reach out to the vet.
You were looking forward to this consult, weren't you, Nazzy?
I
It's just like you had all
was.
your questions all lined up for
Wendy.
Wendy. So Wendy, have you seen, with more individuals at home, working from home, more people getting home companions at this time? And it seems to me that's helping a lot of people through the winter blues, having a new pet in the house, if more people are moving in that direction.
Oh, definitely. There's even a phrase out in the veterinary world called your pandemic puppy.
Oh.
There's been a big spike in adoptions, which is really great for the adoptions and for the animals. You just have to be prepared for them being used to you not being home all the time. When it's time to leave. We talked about that last time. But the pandemic puppy and probably the pandemic cat is also happening. And now we're coming into kitten season soon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? That's not a bad idea. We did talk about that last time that we had you on. That's one of my big fears. We're home now all the time. My wife is home. My son is home. Eventually, the world is going to open back up. What's a good way to prepare our pets to have us homeless when it does happen? What's some good techniques and ideas?
Well, be sure, especially in the pandemic puppy, the new one, just have some times where you are away, where the house is empty. Let them practice being alone. Also, you might consider, if you've had a very first animal in the pandemic, get a second one. Give another one a home so they're never alone in the home. They have each other. Some dogs actually do very well crate training. Personally, I don't like shutting them up, but some dogs, it's very secure. It's like their den if you're worried about damage happening. But again, ease them into it. Hopefully we'll have some warning when all this ends and we'll be able to get some training started. And there's some places now that'll let you bring your dogs in. Like, I've seen dogs come into the studio and I've been able to come in there before. So possibility.
Wendy, in our last minute, what tell us about your book again and what we could expect to find in your book. I know it's available at the Concord Food Co-op at the customer service area and on our e-commerce site that you can go to the Concord Food Co-op's website and get on, and you can buy the book that way. But what is in your book? What can people learn?
Well, thanks, Greg. Yeah, my book, I wrote it so that if people are going to decide to do some homeopathic care, which I highly recommend, I've done a lot better with my patients in the past 25 years than I did before then when I was a regular practitioner. It'll tell them what to expect with a consult, what kinds of questions. You can spend an hour in the intake as opposed to the 10-minute usual appointment, and then what to look for on follow-ups. Some of the things we were talking about, depression, appetite change, preferences for where they like to sleep. So there's all these details you never even thought were important that are really important when you're treating homeopathically. You're getting to the root of the issue. So that's what the book is about. It helps introduce you to this method of healing.
And it is available at the co-op. And in the last couple of seconds, Greg, please give out the website for the co-op, the address, tell us what we've got there, why it's such an amazing place in downtown Concord?
ConcordFoodCoop.coop, 24 South Main Street in Concord. And you can see all the products that we offer online by going to our website in the eShop. But I would just go there one day, just walk through the place. I mean, the bulk department is awesome, and they're making food to go every day, fresh dishes every day to go. And they have fresh chickens that they barbecue every day. So there's a sushi that's fresh every day. So it's worth the produce department, 100% organic. So it's worth just walking through. It'll get you hungry. The smells in there will get you hungry, and you'll want to pick something up.
Excellent. Listen, we want to thank Dr. Wendy Jensen. We want to thank Dr. Angela Bergen, and we want to thank you as well, Greg, for joining us. And we'll see you next time right here.
See ya.
Thank you, Wendy. See you, Nazzy. Appreciate it.
See you guys.